Hello, brothers. I'm contacting you again just as an update. A few things we're going to go over. I'm going to try to make this really short. Sometimes it doesn't work out, especially when I have to cover certain issues. Right now, I've had several lodges that are contacting me right now about the virus and what's going on in lodges. We have a few different issues going on. And about every imaginable situation has kind of happened so far. First of all, let me say that when we are talking to our members and our boards, we need to make sure we're getting the information out of as to what's going on. Some things we didn't do very good when we first opened up, back up. We weren't letting members know our new hours, if there were new hours. Some lodges were, putting signs up, like I said, about wearing the mask. Some didn't. We know this has become very political. And I'm not going to get left or right on the situation. But because of it becoming political and a few things arising, a lot of people have been contacting me with different scenarios. So I just kind of want to put that out there. One thing a lot of lodges are concerned about, if a bunch of people from their lodge get sick, being sued. First of all, that technically it could happen, but they do sign a waiver and the obligations when they become a member that they're going to follow our rules and things like that. And that's one of the things they say they can't do. It does happen though. I mean, we can't stop somebody from trying to sue us. Another thing that's very important is one of the good things that Congress did pass the week before last, that a person cannot sue a company or an entity for contacting COVID-19 unless they can prove one thing. And they set that bar, and the term is gross negligence. And legally, gross negligence is a very high bar. So if someone was to come in the lodge and contact the virus and got sick, generally they couldn't sue unless they could prove gross negligence. And just as an example, gross negligence would be an officer or an employee knew they had COVID-19, went into the lodge knowing they had it, licked spoons, sneezed on people on purpose trying to spread the virus. So it's a very high bar to prove, because someone could go in not knowing that they had COVID-19 and they couldn't sue us for that. I mean, again, they could, they wouldn't win. So we've had a few situations where lodges are having issues now. One thing we have to remember and what they're trying to do, we've had a couple now that have had employees and volunteers contacted. The first thing I always suggest is do your due diligence and make sure they've been tested and make sure they have it. Don't assume it, because right now what we have is too many rumors going around about, especially lodges that are close to each other. They're saying, well, that lodge has it. I've heard that, 2 people there have got it, and now other dozen people are sick or something like that, when that's not really what's happening. Our duty, we just had our state officers meeting. We talked to district presidents, but we want the lodges, administrators on down, everybody to know that, when you hear these rumors, you've got to put a stop to it. Just say, hey, unless you know that for a fact. We know we've had some other types of clubs near lodges where something has happened, and how to handle that situation. The lodge, as the house committee, can demand that they enforce the mask thing to the hilt and say you cannot come in if you're not wearing a mask, and they can get real mean. But with this becoming so political, we've made issues where some people are getting upset. Now, again, I'm going to go back to what we said before. We need to have a sign on the door. We need to be encouraging them, but they're not technically breaking the law in the state of Indiana, because we already went through that whole rigmarole where the governor said it was going to be a fine, it was going to be against the law, you were going to get a B misdemeanor, then they kind of backed off that. They're not breaking the law technically. So if people aren't wearing their mask, I'm still saying we shouldn't be throwing them out. If people are still signing the books in, that's a good thing. Some lodges have had problems with that because individuals are saying, well, that's the man keeping track of us, and it's against my right, I shouldn't have to do that, which I find funny because they're willing to sign the drawing book, so we have a record of them being there that day. Again, we were just trying to do them a favor. If someone in the lodge should contract it, we were doing them a favor by letting them know. That's not being kept on our record anywhere and put away that, Bob Smith was in the lodge on July 16th, and we have records of that now. I don't even know what it would matter if we did have that record. So anyways, in the lodge, we had a situation where some people have been getting upset about people not wearing the mask, and were demanding that the lodge start enforcing that rule. Well, here's kind of what the administrator said. About 60% of the people coming to the lodge are wearing the mask, and they are encouraging them, and about 40% aren't. Well, let's say we start demanding that to happen. That 40% may not just come back in because they're the non-maskers. They're making this political, or it's my right, or whatever. I'm not trying to get into that, but they may just not come back then. And who wants to lose 40% of their regular patronage, right? And then the situation becomes. If we are throwing those people out or not letting them come in, the people that are wanting to take care of themselves and be safe, they're wearing the mask. And if they feel uncomfortable coming in, they don't have to come in then. So, there's already that percentage that's not coming in to start with. I'm hoping this doesn't get more political, but between now and November, it may get more political. The one thing that I do want to reiterate, though, is that our employees need to be wearing them, and our volunteers. That is a mandate that could get us in trouble with health departments. So far, that's not really been an issue, but we have had some employees and a board of officers contracting it now. And now that they have got it, the lodges are shut down. Again, the process there is those people need to stay out for 2 weeks from when they know they contracted it. Again, we need to verify that they did have a test and they did come out positive. Then we need to make sure we're doing a thorough cleaning. The lodges, they don't have to be shut down for 2 weeks. That's the mandate is technically if you have it, you need to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. The business doesn't have to be closed down for 2 weeks. What a couple lodges have done has sanitized everything, which, as far as we know right now, the virus only lasts a few hours outside on its own. So technically, as long as you did a good job of deep cleaning, sanitizing everything, the next day should be okay to open up. But again, that's up to you guys. If it's an employee that's been there for several days and we don't know how long they had it, they did come in contact with a lot of people. So you may want to take some time and think about that. If it was a member that had it, again, we need to verify that they definitely had it. And let's just say that's kind of case by case, because let's say it's an individual and they came one evening and had a couple drinks and didn't talk to too many people and left. Well, again, we need to let people know. We need to sanitize. But then let's say it's another member and they were really popular, and they're one of those people that walked up to everybody at the bar and was in contact with a lot of people, or were here for the dance last Friday night and they danced with 2 or 3 people, plus they went to a couple other tables, then we maybe need to reevaluate that. Again, if your lodge is having problems and there's a situation, you need to let me know, because we have to keep track of that. We've gotten too many people that have thought some of this stuff is just a vacation, and close the doors, walk out, and they're gone for 2 weeks. We can't let that happen. First of all, you still need to be having meetings. There still are bills that need to be paid. The administration should still be inside the building, so we don't just take off. Also, if we do shut down, we need to do everything possible to let as many members know as possible. So if that means sending out an email to what emails you do have, that needs to take place. You need to have signs on the door. If you have, the neon sign outside or the big sign, you need to let people know. Of course, a newsletter probably wouldn't take effect. That probably wouldn't help. But social media, your answering machine, if you have an answering machine while you're closed, because One of the problems we have right now with one of our lodges is people call, there's an answering machine, it's an old answering machine, and the voice just says, leave your name and number after the beep, and doesn't say anything. And people are calling there, and rumors are running wild, and then they start calling other lodges, and the rumors get popped on top of each other, and it becomes a big deal, and then they start calling me. We need to let our members know. Anyways, I'm gonna cut it there, but I've had lots of people asking. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to call me. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Today is Monday. I had a lot of phone calls over the weekend and this morning, and sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get back to you when I've gotten several phone calls. A couple of other things I need to cover real quick is Heart of the Community. It is due this coming Friday, the 15th. You need to put something in. That has to be done. Even if your lodge is closed down, we've been open for a couple of months now, and things were done during the shutdown. You need to put that in. That is not something that we don't get to just do. Don't make me call you Friday morning telling you you haven't put anything in yet, because that should have been done and kept up every month. Right now I've got 17 lodges that have not put anything in. Please do that today or tomorrow. Do not wait till Friday. 990s. 990s have to be turned in before September 15th, but do not wait till the last minute. Please get it done. Right now, when you're done, you need to be sending a picture or a scan of the top page to Rusty Shields. He's the 990 chairman. You should have his email by now. There's been past emails with his email in it. He's a state officer. His email and phone number is on the state officer list. You should have that also. He will start sending me reports here very soon, because we're getting to about a month away from the deadline, and letting me know which lodges have and haven't submitted. So please be on top of that. That's not something that we want to wait till the last second. The 990 is one of the most important things that we do paperwork-wise. Also, training. You have to remember that all officers, elected officers, have to have lodge leadership and house committee training. You'll hear me refer to that as LLHC. If they are an officer and have never been trained before, they have to take that class. They can take it online, or they can take it in person. I suggest if they've never been trained before, they take the class. Again, there's been emails sent out to the lodges already. Rusty is doing a training class in Bloomington the weekend of the 28th or 29th. That's in the email. And then he's also going to be in Hobart, Indiana, which is way up north, but maybe some of the northern part of my territory may want to go to that class if possible. Otherwise, they can take it online. What I suggest when you're doing it online, if you've got 2 or 3 guys, have them bring their laptop in, work on it together, have one of the officers that maybe have taken the test and knows more there to help answer questions, help answer those, because the questions are all the same. The only difference is if you have 3 people sitting next to each other, they're going to get the questions in different orders, so that way they can't just go right down the line and kind of cheat. But if you have somebody there to help them get it taken care of. Again, they have 60 days from July 1st to get it done. So if they're not done by September 30th, we are going to be removing officers. And I know that a lot of people get upset about that and think it's a big deal. But it is a big deal, because I have too many officers that do not know the rules, and then they kind of go and do their own thing, or they don't know the rules, so they've done something, and then they contact me. It's like, that's a basic question. You should have already known that one, but they didn't go through class, or they didn't at least learn anything in class. Again, if they've had that training before also, that training is good for 3 years. If it's more than 3 years, they have to take it again. Now, if you need to look at your officers list to see when the last time was they need to be training, or when the last time they've been trained, you can go to the Moose Admin online section, look up in the member search section, click on the officer. It'll show you down at the bottom, it'll say training history. Click on that, and it'll show you what classes and when the last time was they took that. Also, I'm sending out an email today that's going to have an Excel file in it, and it has all the officers that have been put in the system, and it will show their last date. So on M in the Excel file, it will show when they took office, and N shows the last time they had that LLHC training. If that's blank, that means they've never had the training before. Now, some of those spots for your officers, all your officers may or may not be in there if you've not entered all your officers into Moose Admin. That needs to be taken care of also. So once they're in there, you can click on there and make sure your officers need to be trained. Again, you've had plenty of emails to when the training class is and the deadline, and they are going to make us stick to it this year because we have too many people that are not trained in charge of lodges, and it's becoming kind of the Wild West out there, and they're doing things they shouldn't be doing that's going to either get the lodge in trouble or themselves in trouble. That's all I have. This is getting to be a 15-minute video now, so I want to cut off that. Again, if you have any questions, please give me a call or email me anytime. Again, I appreciate all what we're doing out there. And if you guys are having problems with the COVID-19 or have questions, please give me a call. Thanks very much, guys. You guys take care.